Ao vivo! Estamos ao vivo para mais uma Histórias com Osho. Que maravilha! Vem chegando, porque hoje a gente tem muita história boa para ouvir, para receber, que foram compartilhadas com o nosso querido Nivedano. Fala, Biro! Boa noite, querido!
Boa noite, cá estamos de volta. Nosso Histórias com Osho, 7º episódio da 2ª temporada. Hoje trazendo uma figura muito pitoresca, muito única. Cada um desses encontros é único, mas este é particularmente muito único em sua relação com o Osho. Então, para a gente não se alongar muito aqui, porque tem 1h40 de conversa com ele, tem bastante conteúdo, satisfação garantida, diversão garantida, muitas histórias curiosas. Então, vamos aos avisos, agradecimentos e recados. Para quem não usa Facebook, algum amigo que você queira compartilhar, que acha que pode gostar, então vai estar no YouTube amanhã ou depois da manhã. Também você pode nos ajudar a difundir, compartilhando, dando like, porque isso impulsiona a ferramenta. Nossos agradecimentos a Marisa Rotenberg, o Miguel Fine, todo o trabalho de equipe de vídeo, áudio e arte das Histórias com Osho. Aos nossos queridos patrocinadores, que já existem, alguns, tem gente que já contribuiu já da nossa campanha 2 vezes, inclusive, eu não vou falar nomes aqui, mas a pessoa sabe quem é, inclusive de uma importância bem bacana, assim, da última vez. Nos apoia muito e nos ajuda a crescer. A gente tem ideias para expandir esse projeto, inclusive a Dívia coloca nos comentários fixos o Pix, para quem quiser dar apoio, e também agradecer a nossa Sanguinha, que está sempre com a gente.
A Sanguinha linda, que está todo
nossos
mundo
queridos participantes.
Uhum.
Né? São sempre histórias, muita história de um amor diferente, de um amor especial. Nós não somos nenhum canal do Osho oficial, somos contadores de histórias e convidamos amigos para contar sua história com Osho. E mais em breve, eu tenho assim no meu coração que em breve nós vamos já estar ultrapassado esse período tão difícil da pandemia. Eu já estou vacinado, por exemplo, não vou revelar a minha idade, mas já estou com um bom tempo já com as 2 vacinas. Você, Didi, como é que está isso?
É sexta-feira, a minha 2ª vacina também, então já estou completada.
Então,
aí.
a gente está torcendo para que isso...
Vacina é importante para todos, não só para a gente, então é uma situação que a gente deve se importar com o coletivo. Toda essa experiência, para mim, é isso.
Perfeito, a gente fez questão de falar isso também, porque é importante que a gente se ligue, né, e pensar no coletivo também, não só na gente. Vou ficar muito feliz quando eu puder reencontrar todos os meus amigos, puder dar muitos abraços e fazer muita coisa junto, e esse momento vai chegar. Enquanto brasileiro, eu acho que tem mais possibilidade de acreditar na ciência do que as tentativas para que não se faça. Né? Vamos adiante, Didi?
Ai, olha, tem gente da Chapada dos Guimarães, tem gente de tanto lugar aqui, mas é super legal quando vocês participam, viu? Então, eu incentivo aí a escreverem, comentarem, dar risada, porque essa é uma live que a gente vai se divertir, vai se emocionar com um monte de emoções dos relatos que o Nivedano fez. Então, pega a pipoca e senta na poltrona e divirta-se. A gente vai assistir aqui a entrevista que a gente gravou com o Nivedano. Bora?
Bora!
Então vamos lá. Atenção, preparem-se. Let's go.
Gente,
Tá?
até a
Com
volta.
áudio.
Até o final.
Então bora lá. Até o final. So, Nivedano, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
The first question we do in this interviewing is, how did Osho come into your life?
I am a musician. And I had, before Osho, I had another master. His name was Sri Shemoy. And I met Sri Shemoy, to whom I'm very grateful. And then at one point with Sri Shemoy, I felt that my time with him was over. And the mother of my son was a disciple of Osho. And she showed me a few books of Osho, Zen books. When the Shoe Fits was one of them. And these books, I traveled these books to Canada. And then I tried to go in the border from the United States. And I tried to, I had to go in. And my lawyer, he made a mistake, because me being a Brazilian, I cannot have go to Canada or to Mexico and try to get into States. I have to go to my country, to Brazil, and then apply for the visa in my country, and then go to America. And the guy didn't know that, so I wasted a lot of money, and I had to come in as I could. And one day was very cold, 29 below zero, and I had to cross the border into America. And I crossed the border and almost died because it was very cold. And I remember on top of a pine tree, holding almost on the tip, because I got lost and I had to find out how to get out of the forest where I was and go to the road. And I was all wet and shivering, and I was just about to have this hypothermia.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at the sky, and there was this beautiful moon and a star on top of the moon. And at that moment, I touched the book, Osho's book that was in my pocket. And I said, I'm not going to die. I'm going to find this guy, because I have to go see this guy. I cannot just die here in the middle of the snow. It's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, when I said that to myself, I saw a light coming in the road. So I figured out where the road was. And then I asked the guy, I said, look, I'm almost dying. I need a hot shower and some dry clothes. He took me to his house, made some tea, and made some coffee and some soup, and everything to warm my system. And I kept touching Osho's book. And so I went back to New York, got my visa all straightened out, because it was a mistake, and the American government didn't push to suit me or to give me a fine or anything. I'm a musician, so at the time I was playing with very famous artists in America. So some of them interceded, and then I got the visa, everything straightened out again. So, and then that moment with the star and the moon and the cold wind, it's like you have to be alone. The only way for you to find yourself is being alone. At one moment, I said, I have to go to India. This life here in New York City is not nurturing me. Yeah? I have something inside me that's burning to find somebody who has no roof, a roofless
Nivedano, what
somebody.
year was it? What year was it?
1980.
1980.
So I said, I have to find And I used to write a lot. I used to read a lot and write a lot. And the moment I learned how to speak English, I start reading a lot in English because there are many very interesting publications that only exist in English. Because the translation of those texts lose, for example, Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff has some books that, unless you speak English, you will not understand what he's saying. Like Beelzebub's book, for example. Beelzebub, Tale to his grandson. It's an incredible book, but you know, there are some words that is on the whole page. One word altogether. Doesn't mean anything, except that when you read the book twice or thrice, in the middle of that mumbo jumbo of words, you find what he wants to tell you. Yeah? Like, it's a secret language. So, and then I went to India. I said to myself, ah, man, this New York scene here is very nice. But I played with the best musicians at that moment. Yeah, there was. Yeah. There were some incredible moments like a professional. But that also didn't nourish me. Something was missing. I needed to go and find that sound of the bell ringing. Yeah. And in this kind of music that I was playing in New York, jazz and rock and roll, and I played with very nice bands. I'm very grateful to these people that showed me about music.
Weather report?
Yeah, Weather Report was a very important moment in my life because I saw Weather Report in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, and I said, wow, what a great band. And that band just was a takeoff from Miles Davis. They learned from Miles how to be ahead of the beat. And meditation is this. Meditation, you have to be ahead of the beat. Because everybody, when you are on the beat, you are already too late. It's just like Ananda, the disciple of Buddha. Buddha was the beat and Buddha died and then he got alive. You got to do that while the master is alive. You have to go and in a very gentle and educated way, educated in a very wild manner, because you have to be wild to do it a master. You cannot just be a so-so, lukewarm. So I said another day, the master always will leave a crack in his door for the disciple, some disciple that has the courage to go in. Yeah. Even if the door is all locked, I'm not saying, I'm saying, how do you say, supposedly, yeah? The master leaves a way for you to come into his heart. And you have to find that way. I found that way with the berimbau, with the music, with the drum, and the silence between all the stuff that was going on. And, but this will come later. So first, I went to India. And when I arrived in India, first I took like 20 meters of equipment in a Kennedy airport. Jayananda, Sheila's husband, he said, no, you wait until next week to go to Pune because I like you to take some stuff. So I said, okay. So he put like 20 meters. There was bass amplifiers, mosquito killers for Changtu Soho, mattresses of special quality, many things. Huh? And then I said, well, how am I going to take it? He said, no, we are paying everything. You just have the equipment, all this equipment have to go on your name. And when you arrive in Bombay, you just give this to whoever is there to wait for you, waiting for you. Very good. So I had this great travel to India, singing some Osho song that I never even, I cannot remember that, but was from some music that Anubhava created, and was a very heartful. And so when I arrived in the ashram, I went to see Sheila because I had all this stuff and a few watches that I took and a few pens. And then Sheila said, Osho told me to ask you, why did it take you so long to arrive? And then I said, well, great idea. I felt right at home because and then she said, then he wants you to have this. And then he gave me a golden pen with a diamond on top. The diamond I lost right away because it was glued in there. But the pen I had for a long time. Huh? So I felt at home, even though I didn't know anybody in the ashram. And then many things start to happen. Sheila told me, go and find a place for you to sleep tonight. And then the next day, I got this present from him. Yeah? And then the next day, somebody sent 2 women to clean me up. So they took me to the therapy chambers and gave me a really shower. Yeah, and I was surprised. I said, why is this happening? Yeah? And they cut my nails, my toenails, and scrubbed me really clean, good. Yeah? I was coming from New York, and I was living a very difficult life in New York because between spirit and matter, you have to find a balance. And at that moment in New York, there was just the material world. And I was starving for the spiritual world. And so you get very uncared for. You don't care about yourself. You only care about the money, the fame, the power. And that was hurting me because, I say, life has something else to offer besides money, power, and all this struggle for nothing, just to be a musician. I don't want to play music anymore. And then a friend of mine, Ciro, who is now a very famous musician in New York, he said, no, you have to go to India and you have to take this instrument. Take the instrument. I said, well, okay, so I take the instrument. So I took some of the instrument. And Rupesh, Mexican Rupesh, was waiting for me. When I arrived in Pune, it was just like a coming home situation. Because Rupesh was there and said, hey, you are so-and-so? I said, yeah. So please come with me. We're going to play now in Dadaji's tomb there, all the way on the back of the ashram. There was the tomb for Dadaji, Osho's father. And we played. That's how I arrived in Pune, playing music. Wow. And I played every day until the end. Until Osho died, I was in the band playing. Wow. So, and then the next day they cleaned me up, and I felt like I felt that some magic is going on, and I don't know what it is. And at that moment, I had no money at all. I only had a few gold coins. So somebody gave me these gold coins, and he said, "Look, you might need this one day." So, and then I put in my sash. I had a belt that was a sash. And I didn't know that you're not supposed to travel with this kind of stuff. And, I'm a kind of a gypsy. I don't care much about this. So I went to India with that stuff in my sash. And then I sold the gold and I bought some Indian clothes and went to the ashram. And then the next day, Chaitanya Hari asked me to play. And then we sat there, and some funny thing happened. Because the alarm for the ashram, for the guards, was a whistle. Like, prrr! And I don't know that, I just arrived. And one of my instruments is the whistle. And so at one point in the music, I played the whistle on the microphone. And then all these guards stand up, yeah, and the gate is closed, and this whole thing, yeah. And then I don't know what's going on. And I go again on the whistle. Prrr, 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 and then because everybody crack up. Everybody crack up. Huh? Was like some ice broke off. Yeah? Some ice, out of a sudden, pop. Why? Because Osho just went in silence 3 days before. And then Nivedano arrived, and he's in silence. And they say, right now, the guy goes, didn't he have a better time to, I want to hear him. Yeah, but little I knew that that's how I was going to be really inside him. Because at that moment, he wasn't speaking. And everybody was excited about him not speaking. And I just arrived and I want to hear his voice. And then it started 1 month long discourse about Khalil Gibran. Some music and the poems from Khalil Gibran. I forgot the name, Zarathustra, I don't remember the name. And the thing was that Chaitanya Hari at that moment, Osho told him to go to Saswat. And he put Yashu, the flute player, in charge of the music. And Yashu wanted to do something totally different. And Yashu got 3 percussionists, Yoga Krishna playing tambura, Swami Govindas playing sitar, and Krishna's playing, no, and 3 percussionists, Nivedano, Rupesh, and Harida. And then the whole thing in the community started to change because the drum is what you hear when your mother is pregnant. Dum-dum, 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 dum-dum. 9 months you hear that. That is embedded in your unconscious, in your conscious, in your subconscious, everywhere. You have it, dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum. And coincidentally, in Brazil, we have a beat played on a drum that has this tandam, 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 which is the surdo drum. And that drum was a hit in Osho's community because the moment that the drum started to be heard, it changed the whole mood in the community on the last 1.5 years of Osho's life, in the ashram. In the ranch, we already had the drive-by. In the drive-by, the nicest spot for one to be in drive-by was around the Gachami signs where we played, and the Indians came, and there was a mix of Indian songs and Brazilian drums. And the chemistry is such the chemistry that what I just said about Indian and Brazil, the melodies and the rhythm is something that Osho later on would use for his meditation. Because you see, the tum-dum, 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 tum-dum continuously. played on top with beautiful harmonies. It breaks the hardness, but keeps pushing inside you. And the people freak out inside Buddha. When Osho Bai started, we're going to come to that later, but when Osho Bai started, many people freak out. And it's a continued thing. Eh? I will tell you how it went about. So I go back to because I got sidetracked here because there's so many stories. Huh?
That's okay. Let's go back to 1980.
Yeah, so we started in 1981. Yeah,
81. Okay.
81. So, and then this and Jivankavya was one of these girls who cleaned me up. I felt like an emperor that day. Because these beautiful women, so respectful, there was no sexuality involved, yeah. And they stood there and gave me a nice shampoo and soap and cleaned me up really beautiful. Like, why do I deserve this? Why am I getting this? And then I was like, oh. Jivankavya come and say, now you go to the boutique and you choose a few pieces of clothes. And I said, yes, beautiful. So I went there, and who I meet right on the door? My yoga mukta. And we look at each other. Yeah,
the Greek.
Mukta the Greek. Yeah. We look at each other, and there was immediate chung. It was something like the divine is bringing these people again in the sadhana. Yeah? And then it's Yoga Mukta. And she said, you look like somebody that came out of a cartoon. Because I had one of these Indian Baba hat and some funky Indian clothes that I didn't know how to use it properly. Yeah. And I said, well, I'm just getting acquainted. So who are you? She said, oh, I'm Mukta. You want to come to dinner tonight? I said, great, thank you. Yes. So, and then we went to dinner. Then that third day I'm in the ashram, I meet this incredible flower, Mukta. And we were playing the music, and I was meeting these people. And one person in particular was Sheila, because I met her in New York City. And until now, even though she does what she does, I have respect for what she helped to make Osho's vision to come to the world. Because all this bullshit is all bullshit. What matters is that now Osho is alive. Yeah, in so many hearts, and so many seeds are around, sprouting here and there. Yeah, and this, without Sheila, wouldn't be possible. She got sidetracked. She did what she did. Have compassion on her, and one day she will repent and be free of this heavy load. But in particular, Sheila, because she was trying to set me up in the commune. And then one day, something really incredible happened. And then I knew that I was connected with Osho forever. Was that Rupesh, he was the big gossiper of the commune. If you want to know something that's happening on Indian village, ask Rupesh. Something the Blue Diamond.
The Mexican guy.
Anything you want to know, or you want somebody to know, you just ask Rupesh or tell Rupesh. He'll make sure that everybody knows. And he was a lovely guy, that one. Yeah? My dear friend is somebody that I missed dearly. Yeah. And I was going to talk about, and then this day, I asked Rupesh, Rupesh, why is Krishna, Govinda, and Yashu laughing so much in the past 2 days? Every time they meet, they quack, 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 quack. What is this? Yeah, I feel that we're missing something. He said, okay, I will find out. Just hang on. He comes back and say, I know what happened. They're going with Bhagwan to America. And we are not going. He said, wow. And this is just before satsang. And in that day, I was going to play a bucket of water to make the sound of the ocean with the microphone right next to the water, and I would make the sound of the ocean for Yash to play the flute. And he told me this just in a break between the silences, huh? Yeah, he said, he told me, hey, they're going to America and we're not going. So what? Yeah, you heard. We are not going. I said, no. And then I start crying. And then the tears would fall in this bucket of water. And I would look at the guy and say, man, you cannot leave me here. Shit, no, you gotta take me. No, what am I gonna do here? Yeah, I came here because of you, and I have no money. How am I going back? And so what you gonna do? And then miracles happen. The guy stand up, gets in his Rolls Royce, goes around Buddha Hall, and stops the car right where now stands the Buddha. There is a Buddha there. He's right across from the podium, from the old Buddha Hall. He stops there, and Puja comes out of the car and says, Nivedano, you have to come to my room immediately. And I am there just in the end of the satsang. We still have to play some for everybody goes away. And then I go to her room, and she said, what I'm going to tell you, you cannot tell anybody. You are invited to go to America with Bhagwan.
Wow.
I couldn't, even the tears come out. Divine connection happening. So she said, you cannot tell anybody. You cannot tell your son. My son was there. My ex-wife was there. You cannot tell anybody. And you have to make one suitcase and bring this suitcase to us. And this suitcase is the only thing you will be allowed to take in a plane. And 2 days from now, there is a truck that is going to go to Bombay, and you go and get your visa. And it was all magic at this point, because the connection was established. When I arrived, the guy asked me why it took so long. And then he invites me to go. And I feel really honored and grateful that it's happening like this. Even all the torments that we have to go through here in Brazil is worth every second of it. So we go to Bombay, get the visa, go to America, and live with Osho, and then start Rajneeshpuram. And I am all the time, we say in Brazil, na cola, following him like that. Luckily, I went to Lao Tzu Garden to make the lawn around his house. And then, you see, this intimacy, it only works if you have the courage to go into that little crack that the master leaves in the door. And this is not for free, because I'm going to give you an example. I used to rake the gravel and wet the gravel so it would be in a cool temperature, and he left the house to go into the Rolls Royce. Everything was impeccably clean. And at one point, everybody would go to have lunch to Madalena. And I said, the guy is going to sleep. I have my little snack here. I can just eat a snack here, and I was gonna take a nap under his porch. This is a modern 10-star hotel, eh? Because the master is sleeping inside. And I couldn't tell this to anybody because I didn't want to share that with anybody. Yeah, I found that little crack, which was, he's going to go to sleep in his room. And then there is the deck. And under the deck, there is a big space. I can just take my nap in there. And that's when we, for 2 or 3 years went like that. Huh? I would take a snack from the breakfast, and I would just take a nap when the master takes a nap. And of course, some connection flows into that. Yeah, it's like a thread that exists between you and him is stronger. It's like you pushing the door a little open, a little more open. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there was some surprise because I was sleeping in a nest of rattlesnakes. There was just in the other side of the panel, there was a nest of rattlesnakes. Yeah, we took more than 20 rattlesnakes under his house. Yeah, and that danger is what makes life fun. The danger. Yeah, I don't know if it is snake in there. Yeah. The only snake that I couldn't find very dangerous was the master himself, because he can cut you, can cut that ego of yours in pieces. Huh? And you have so much investment in the ego that, but when you start to open the door of the master, yeah, and he starts seeing that you really want it, he also starts to come in your way. Mm-hmm. And he starts to come and pull you in. He said, this guy deserves some attention. What do you want? And this love affair went on for many years. And all the time, my only effort was to disappear into that energy, to find a way that Nivedano wouldn't be found in that energy, disappear in that sky. And unless you do this effectively, like you have to really do it. It cannot just be a mind idea. You have to do it. Yeah? So when I kept doing this, he gave me the work to work around him. And I made my responsibility to the universe that I would use every second to discover the magic and the secret that this guy has for me. What do you want to give me? You want to give me some, but I wasn't ready. So it took me years of pushing the door a little open. One day there was no door anymore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was a beautiful thing when it happened, because it happened in his bed, in what today is the Samadhi. I had the Samadhi now, but his ashes were put. Mm-hmm. It happened in there. Like he gave me an incredible job and very difficult to manifest it, because there was so much politics around, and that job is a very costly job, involving millions, which is to make a marble waterfall where his Samadhi. Yeah. And you had all the politics of the commune going on, and you have to go to Rajasthan to bring 50 or 60 trucks of rocks, and you have to go to get pumps, and you have to go get work. And there was a big crew working to make the Samadhi garden for him. Mm-hmm. And this was a great undertaking, because it's going to be really near the master. Mm-hmm. He was just sleeping there. And I had free access anytime that I want. I worked at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, sometimes overnight, just to be there. And I would lay down under his window, because I was used to this. I did this in the ranch, just trying my best, to see if I could do it. And I would watch for Vivek. And I would make sure that I would go and be around Vivek to see if Osho mentioned something to her. Because if he didn't want this guy there, he would tell her, hey, tell this guy to get lost. So he never said. And I got even closer to the people in the house because Gayan was my girlfriend and she lived in the house. And I was working in the garden. And every time there was something inside the house to do, like a handyman had to do. And it was easy just to call Nivedano, that's around in the garden, to fix something. Then call a handyman from the ranch to come there. And I would use all the opportunity just to breathe in that whole thing. To sleep in his bed. I don't know anybody who slept in his bed.
I know.
And I slept in his bed. I slept in his bed in the Shidivilla Castle because he left. I mixed up the sequence, but this is worth to tell you. Rupesh comes to me and said, hey, Nivi, everybody left. And Bhagwan left too. And then I was in love with Gayan. And Rupesh was in love with Shunya. And but he was in love with Shunya, but Shunya didn't know that. He wants to tell. And so and so and then he come and say, look, all the girls left to go to Oregon and nobody's in the castle now, just me, you, and Govindas. We're not invited to go to the airport, so let's go to Osho's room to see how it is. I say, good idea, man, let's go there.
Yes.
So I say, Govindas, you take care of the, just watch. I don't even know if I said that to Govinda, but he was the guy who watched it. And then me and Rupesh went in the room. Rupesh went for the breakfast. There was some croissant and some orange juice from Nirvana. And then I went a little more and I saw his bed. And the bed was made and just turned the corner of the blankets were like in a hotel. And I said, well, he's not coming back here. I'm going to see how is the feeling to be in the guy's bed. So then went in the bed. And then I slept for a few minutes and really slept. And then Rupesh come and say, Nick, I hear some noise. Come, let's go. But then Rupesh, like I said, he was a big tongue. And then I said, you cannot tell anybody this because this is going to get me into trouble with Sheila and all these girls. And so he slept in the master's bed. And then he couldn't help. He spread the news. Nivedano slept in Bhagwan's bed. And then the next thing is I got the sheets from his bed. I got the sheet, the pillowcase. I got the whole kit. And I slept with that thing in the ranch for many years. All the time we were in the ranch, I had that thing, because it was a gift from the master. You want to find a way to the master, you have to do this kind of things. You have to find how to create the link that makes you intimate with the real master. And you will see one day in the mirror, it's your face. Everything that you were projecting is you. You have to go inside yourself, pull it out, the ego, let him behind, and be like an open space for the universe to work through you. That's what we are. We are just channels here.
Nivedano, may I bring you back to the ranch? I want to know more about your life
Yes.
there. Yes. And then Puna too,
So-
music, everything I want to know.
The world tour.
The world tour also. If you can tell,
So,
start
in-
from the ranch. Yeah.
So Rajneeshpuram. So Gayan was my girlfriend. And Gayan was like a very special, she is a very special human being. And we got together and we were the only couple for such a long time. We were married 30 years. All through Pune 1, Rajneeshpuram, Pune 2, Brazil, we were together. Rajneeshpuram was the greatest experiment that ever happened in the past 5,000 years. There was no Shiva, Krishna, pharaohs, nobody could manage what Osho in those 5 years of Rajneeshpuram created. It was such an impact that they had to kill him.
Mhm.
And this was already written. The guy first says everything that he said about family, about Jesus, about religion, about the priests and the politicians. About the politicians, he really crushed them. So the only way to get rid of this guy was to kill him. And that's what they did. But even in Rajneeshpuram, him being arrested, and he managed to wake up a few there. Maitreya agora não like him. There was another guy that very few people know him. His name is Narayan. And Indian, Gajar Babu. Was one beautiful man that he arrived in Rajneeshpuram dressed as an Indian in the middle of the winter. Cold, very cold. And I saw that beautiful guy with such beautiful eyes, such love was, I say, coming out of his pores. He was full of love. And I asked him, excuse me, I think you are underdressed for the situation here, for this climate. You just came from India, and he didn't speak English. And yes, India, yes, Baba, yes, India. And very loving and very respectful. And I said, okay, you wait here, and I will find some clothes for you. So I went to Howdy Doody, which was the place where you have boots and coats. And my friend was there. I said, look, forget about all the bureaucracy. I need one pair of boots, size something. And I need pants and jacket. And I need everything from somebody that came and is there shivering in the cold just to see the master. So if Padma or Sheila or Patipada come, tell them to fuck off. Just give me the thing and forget about it. So I gave him this clothes. I don't know who the guy was, but there was a connection with this guy. And he is one of the greatest flowers in Osho's garden. And very few people know him. His name is Narayan.
Narayan.
And he used to cut Narayan.
He's still in the body?
No, he left. He used to
left.
live he used to go to sleep in the burning guts.
Burning Gats in
in-
Rajneeshpuram or in Pune?
In Pune, yeah, the
Pune.
burning guts there
By the river. That one by
Yeah.
the river, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then he started inviting me to go there. He would say, hey, you have to learn about me. By then he could speak a few, huh? Learn about death. So we would go to the burning guts and we would be there and we would eat some chapati or whatever, drink some chai. And not much talking because I didn't speak Marathi or Hindi, and neither him spoke English. So it was a heart-to-heart connection, a flowing movement that it felt really good to me. And I say, you see, when you're surrounded by such love, you get used to that frequency, and it's addictive. You want to feel that. That's why people get together with couples, become couples. But then when the magic is gone, they become single again, which is different with people of the past, enlightened people, because they have so much to share that in this, how you call, you can never finish. The same thing is with Osho. And this guy that I'm talking about, he is in the same caliber, in the same step as Osho and Buddha and Lao Tzu and Krishna and Matsu. This Gajar Baba, incredible man.
Gajar
And nobody
Baba.
noticed. Yeah, Gajar. Because I guess Gajar means carrot. Carrot Baba, because he used to go to the canteen to chop vegetables in Puram, and he was the carrot Baba. And I guess they call him Gajar Baba, but his name is Narayan. You will find his picture there in the Sannyas Wiki.
Yes. When I hear you, I remember Osho talking about Maga Baba.
Yes, this is the greatest guy. I feel that Magababa was even more important to us than Osho, because Magababa was the one who told Osho to get a job. Magababa said, you are our hope for a better future. You speak English, you are a professor, you have the talent to talk to the crowd, and you are enlightened. So get a job, go to work. And after that day, Magababa disappeared. And I have such a great connection with this guy, Magababa. Such a connection with him, because I'm looking for always for this thread that disappeared. You don't find this thread easily. You have to be in that frequency to find these people of light, these people that bring something to the universe, the people that create a new possibility. This guy Magababa is one of these. Nobody knew about him. He spoke gibberish all the time. But in the night, he would talk to Bhagwan. Like 2, 3 in the morning, he would come and say, hey, let's have some chai and blah, 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 and this and that. Imagine what they would talk. What I heard is that when Osho got enlightened, he went first to Magababa. He went to see Magababa, and Magababa told him, don't need to say anything. I can see. My work is done. See you later. They say, hey, wait a minute. Can't go like this. Okay, I'm going to give you this here. And he gave the blanket, the only thing that Magababa had. But you see, Magababa, he belonged to this group of people that exist in total anonymity in the planet. Nobody knows about it. And for you to know about somebody like Magababa, you have to be in a group, in a egregora. You have to somehow to sleep in that crack again. And they have to welcome you. And for this kind of people to welcome someone, it's not an easy thing. It's lives and lives of preparation. I heard Osho say one day, even only to recognize enlightened man as an enlightened man needs lives and lives of preparation. Because it's very easy when Osho is Osho, there, dressed like a master, with that imposing figure of light. You cannot go away from that. It's like it's so powerful. But one thing is when you don't know who the guy is, and then to come like to a guy like this, Gajar Baba, it just makes me aware of my own potential. Because if I can recognize I'm looking in my mirror, I'm looking at my image in the mirror, maybe tomorrow, maybe next life, or maybe happened yesterday. But something is tricking in there. Something is like pulsating, is itching, is making me go look for that energy. And that's what I'm looking here. You see, I look in every child's eyes to see if there is a Buddha in there. I find Buddhas everywhere. They're all Buddha. But after the 7th year of life, they become Buddha, which is stupid. Because the parents destroy the kids. The parents just go and poison the child. Yeah, you have to be this, you have to be that. You're going to be a doctor.
The system, school, education,
Yes.
all of this. You said that you didn't hear Osho because he was in silence. So how was the first time you hear Osho talking again?
No, you see, the silence was for the crowd, for the world. He was in silence. He was not giving discourse. But here and there, you could hear him talking about, I want my bamboos. I want my trees like this. So he would come in a garden and talk and say this and that. I want this, I want that. And but the first time he spoke again in a discourse was really something. I remember. Yeah, he said it's very difficult for me to speak again because 3 years not speaking one word to the public.
Nivedano, we are going back and forth, and I want to know about music and Buddha Hall and Darshan. Tell us about this story. Everywhere. Rajneeshpuram, Pune.
But you say about the music in Rajneeshpuram. So, was hell. Imagine it was hell.
What?
Was hell. To create that music that you hear and it sounds so beautiful, yeah, we had to go through hell. Because they invented a way, there had to be a coordinator for the music group. And usually they put a dumb person to be coordinating the music group. So to begin with, musicians are really wild people. Musicians, they create, yeah, they love for the instrument and they love for the music. And, yeah, the whole thing about music is wild. And then you put this Patipada, for example. I have to say her name because she was awful to us. Yeah. And somebody that keeps doing like this for the music to go first, and they didn't have any idea of what to do with the music. But the ego was so strong that they had to say, musicians have a big ego and they have to be controlled. And then, in order to extract 5, 6 music songs, was hell. We have to, to go through immense pain with those people, trying to kill the creativity.
Well, this is, I guess this is lotus coming out of the mud, because there are so many beautiful tracks. Like I would say one that I love so much, I think you are playing. It's called Baixos Pound.
Yeah.
This record,
You
I
know,
love it so much.
You know what happened with that music?
Hmm.
That music was the day that Osho was arrested.
Yes, I knew that.
Chaitanya Hari arrived there the night before, and we were setting up to play the next day. And then in the morning, we heard that Osho was arrested in Charlotte. And that music has such a sorrow in that, because the whole Buddha hall was feeling that the master is arrested. There is sometimes that it sounds like Mission Impossible. You know? And so that was Baixos Pond. There is another beautiful music called Yes to the River.
Yes, I know.
The CD. That is a hit all over the world.
Yeah.
And one thing that we wanted to do with the music that we could never do was to find the money to produce a beautiful or a few beautiful CDs. Because that music that we create in Osho's presence is very strong. Because if you can put 10,000 people dancing, if you can create that atmosphere of celebration, of love, colorful, if you create that, you can create for the whole world. But the people are very narrow, you know, when it comes to this. They don't want to spend the money. You got to spend the money. You got to bring the people. You got to put the people together. You got to get the instruments. You got to get the hotel bills. You got to get the food, everything, and make the music happen. You cannot just say, hey, come here and play. No. You need the atmosphere to create. And we already did that. We create all this beautiful music. Now we need to make it professional. Because it's not, it's like amateurs. It's beautiful. You know, imagine if somebody invests some money for us to play some music. And for example, Oshoba. Yes. Oshoba is the heat of the new moment in the planet. And I'm making a band now to go to the East again. To India, China, to Nepal, to play. Because Oshoba is the heat, because it brings the flavor of the spiritual world, with the scales and the tonality that we use, and the kind of instrumentation that we use in Osho's presence. And the pounding drums behind that don't let you slip off the beat. You're there, you're caught there. And if you don't allow that to go inside you and cleanse you up, you're gonna become like the people that they were in Buddha Hall, and they would come to us and hit us while we were playing. I cannot hear this music anymore, please, because it was 1.5 years just social about boom, boom, every night. You were there.
I remember. I was there.
Yeah.
Tell me, Nivedano, Osho used to guide it. Or how did it come? Because I remember like music going slowly up, and then stop. And the whole energy goes into silence, and like music and silence. How was it with Osho guiding it?
You see, we started trying a few things. First, he came with the drum and said, Nivedano, from now on, every time I call your name, boom. And then the crack in the door is a bit bigger now. I said, wow, the guy trusts my hand. And then Rupesh arrived with a new instrument. which was an octopad, where you sample some sounds, and then when Osho would do like this with the hand, I would play, and I would make Sadarji laugh. And the guy laughed too. Osho laughed. Got him so surprised that night. Because this is the thing, man. You have to surprise your master. You have to have the courage to really screw up, and or you can really go, you know, you have to have the courage. So I recorded a few things. I recorded a firecrack going, oh, bah! And he laughed too. And then the next day I said, okay, now I'm going to really surprise him. I'm going to try. If he doesn't like, he will tell me, but I have to try. I recorded Sadarji's laugh. And then there's big silence. And when the guy goes with this, like this with the hand, comes Sadarji on the speaker. Man, it was like the whole Buddha hole came down, laughing. This is what he wanted, so let's have fun. Yeah. But this was against the bureaucracy. Because you want to keep something that you can control. And that music that we created in the end of Osho's life in Pune was uncontrollable. People just let go and go because, and then what we did, Osho was always, he would go with the hands up and we would go up in the intensity of the music. And in the instruments, we added more instruments as the music went up. And at one point, he would stop the motion, the movement with his hand. He would go like this and stop. And this was the sign for us to stop. But this took 1 year to get it together. Because there was like Japanese, it took 1 year. There was Japanese, American, Italian, Brazilian, Puerto Rican, and English. No, and Dutch playing that kind of rhythm. And what happened was, one day Osho was sick. And then he said, okay, I'm gonna come out tonight. He told them, then they came and said, look, get the musicians together because Bhagwan is coming. And so we went to Buddha Hall, and then the music that was played was not fit to that. You know, the guy's sick for 3 months, you don't hear the music, and then comes, I love, I love, I love. You don't need to say you love the master, you have to show that you love him. Do something else. Yeah. Pull, jump, come in a parachute to his house. I don't know, do something. Yeah?
Boa.
Yeah. Do something, yeah? But you know, don't need to say I love, I love, I love, I love, I love. I was already bored with that loving blah 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 song. And then I had a very bad argument with Milarepa. I said, look, I don't want to play this anymore. No, this is not the music that I feel that should be played in Buddha Hall. Because we already, everybody here loves him. He knows. Let's get something else, something new. And I don't want to play anymore. And then I wrote to Osho to say, look, this happened like this. I don't feel that the music is going anywhere. And I would like to stay out of the band, let somebody else do it. And then the message came, look, I have so many problems. I got so many problems that one more problem. I don't want this problem. So you just keep complaining. I said, okay. But then, can we change the idea of the music? Can we just play drums? It's a great idea. So we start to play drum. And then I put the Osho band together. Milarepa was playing one drum, Marco was playing another drum, that Japanese guy that you mentioned in the beginning, Abhivanda. No,
Abhivandam. Deva Abhivandam.
Abhivanda.
I went to, just a minute. He had an inspiration on you. He was a very good friend of mine. I would go to his house in Pune. He was all day long rehearsing alone the agogo to get the beat.
Yeah, so there were, and we start to play in the morning just to practice to see if we could do it. And then Osho heard. And then the next thing we know is that it's for Nivedano go to the Shizu's house and play his drum inside of the hallway to wake everybody up. Because the people wouldn't come to work. They live there, they eat there, they share the whole thing, and they come to work 2-3 hours later. If you have to come to work, it starts at 8 o'clock, you have to be there 5 to 8. Yeah? You live in the master's presence. Why you think you are special that you can come 2 hours late? So if you have 800 people in a commune and 800 people come late, 2 hours late, it's 1,600 hours every day. That's wasted. So why are you there? Then go to your house. So, but then I felt really bad with that thing, like so much pain here because the bad vibes that came that first day. Really bad vibe because it's an empty. It was a staircase made of marble, I think, and the sound in that there are many echoes, and the whole door, every door, and the drum is really big, in the bed. Yeah? And he wanted that. Why he wanted that? Because when we played in Rajneeshpuram, and we started playing the drums down drive by, the whole house up there would shake. And he would say, okay, Shun, it's time to go. And he would go and get in the rows and come down. So he would know that a drum like that would really wake them up. And imagine, all these very strong people of the community, they thought they could sleep late. And man, you don't have time with the master. The guy is going to die. He knew he was going to die. And you're sleeping. Maybe you drank too much whiskey last night and you're just there, comatose. So, want to be with the master, be alert all the time. Because he will push you to your limit. And when you think you're done, there is another road far away. And that another road is another facet of your ego. And then he has to peel it again. And if you allowed him to peel you, it's like an onion. In the end, there won't be anything left. You know, just like an onion. And that's what I wanted him to do it to myself. I said, man, I'm here for you. Yeah? You want to show me something? Show me. There is nobody else that I want to show me anything except you. That when you're with the master, you have to make sure that every second that you are there with the master is going to be used to get you to this point.
I want you to talk about, I remember I used to work in Pune in Rose Garden. We come with this wheelbarrow full of roses and went through the garden where you working with the waterfall making. How was this process of making this waterfall for Osho? How long does it take? How long did it take? I mean,
yeah. One day, Mukta comes to me and say, "Hi, Nivedano. I wanted to make a waterfall for Bhagwan, you know, with her accent." I said, "Okay, Mukta. Where do you want the waterfall?" "Ah, right here, in the entrance. When the people come." I said, "Great, let's do it." So, and then I made something really small, like less than a meter high. right on the door of the Changsu Hall, in the entrance, yeah? And then Hamido, Swami Hamido, he,
Brazilian guy?
yeah, Brazilian guy. Swami Hamido, he let some cement go in the plants, and then after lunch comes the dragon Mukta. She was like a dragon, smoking through the air.
She was my coordinator at the garden.
Yeah. She said, "Who did this here?" And I said, "Mukta, stop this shouting. Bhagwan is just there sleeping, and you with this nonsense here. You know, stop this. It's no problem. You just get a sponge and take the cement out of the leaf. What is the big deal? And you come here to disrespect us in front of this, the master's house and in this sacred place. Yeah, why are you doing this?" And then Bhagwan heard the whole exchange. And then in the afternoon comes Ananda and say, "Nivedano, Bhagwan wants you to make a 9-meter high waterfall. And you can take all these plants from here. There's a Mukta's plants. Huh? Imagine what he's creating. Yeah? He say, you can take all the plants out. You can do whatever you want to do. And you go for the money to Amitabh, and you can start immediately. And this is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm really happy that I got another job with the master. Yeah? So let's do it. And then I go to Mukta. I say, "Mukta, did you hear?" "I don't want to hear anything." I say, "Okay." So next day, I told Nirvana, "Look, it's going to be trouble. It's better if Bhagwan comes and, I meet Mukta and Bhagwan." And then we talk about. So the next day I go there and comes Mukta, and she was so quiet. I guess she got the point. That there was a device for her, because she was the headmaster of the garden. All of a sudden, inside her garden comes a guy, and we'll put this flying saucer there, because it was like a flying saucer. The whole thing made of white marble. And this is a great story. So the guy comes, and I was already preparing to do something like I did on the front gate with those kind of rocks from Saswat. And the message comes, no, he wants something with marble. You should go to Rajasthan and buy the marble. I say, man, me going to Rajasthan? I don't speak the language. I don't know about marble. So find somebody who knows about marble, and find somebody who speaks the language. And so they find a Swami, Viragya. You remember Viragya? So we go to this marble place in Makarana. It's 51 degrees in the sun, hot. You have to make these big turbans and pour water in the turban, so to get your head not to cook. And then first we go buy this marble for his bed. And the marble from his bed, we went to Makarana, porque Makarana has a marble that's white, and called white Makarana, which is a pure white marble. There is not one grain of any other color. But in order for you to find this marble and to see this marble, you have to see when there is no sun, when it's just becoming dark. And you go with a candle, and you pass the candle behind the plate of marble, because it's like a plate, 2 meters by 120. Yeah, and we found 12 pieces. And I said, we're going to buy it. And they said, no, why are you going to buy this? So I said, man, look, you in charge of the money, but not in charge of what I'm going to do with the money. This is the only marble that's available, maybe in the whole India. I'm going to take this marble. If you don't want to pay, great. I'm going to call them and say, look, I'm taking over the money. And this was big trouble, money in a community, big trouble. We bought the marble. It's the marble that they made his bed. Next day, the guy say, okay, so now we bought the marble. I'm going to tell you where you want to go get this other marble that you need. And then it's a really hilarious story because, you see, I am Brazilian. I am in India. I don't speak Hindi or the language that they spoke in Rajasthani. And if they found out that I was from Bhagwan's commune, the price would go really high. So the idea was to tell that I had a
meio fanho.
And we just finished the mystic rose, the meditation. And the day finished the mystic rose, I flew to Rajasthan. And when we found out that I couldn't speak any language, and we bought a spray paint, and I would talk like I just did, like, and they would say that I was a crazy artist. They want a marble to make statues, whatever. So, and that was the story. And I would go and put mystic rose, MR, in the rocks that I want to choose to take. And this, this was on the first day that we found out we devised this strategy, like, don't talk to him. He's crazy. He's an artist. He has a problem with his tongue. He doesn't speak any language. And don't go near him because he freaks out. So the whole story was to leave me alone so I could choose the rocks. And we put the rocks in the truck and sent to Pune. So after 1 week of this, I said, man, I cannot keep going like this because I'm already speaking like this, like Fanyo. So I had to keep it up. So we're going to, and then we went to Jaipur. I said, look, I want to eat. I want to go into air conditioning and forget about all these rocks for now. So we went there, went to this hotel, ate really good food, and had air conditioning room. And then, okay, let's go get the rocks again. So we went to Jaipur again, to Daipur again. And then something really incredible happened because I said, man, I'm going to have to stay here 6 months to get all these rocks. And the guy's calling my name. I'm here in Rajasthan. And Bhagwan is calling my name there in Pune. Yeah. And this is what kind of situation is this? Imagine, maybe Abiru, you were there when I was not there, and he was calling my name in the Buddha hall.
Yes, he says the drum called Nivedano because Rupesh got a little hurt because it was the time to beat the drum, and he said Nivedano. And he says after...
No,
not that. No, not this.
No, he said to me before I left to go to Rajasthan, he sent Shunya to find out if everything was ready. And this is how you find out if the master really cares, man. Because I finished the mystic rose and I was going to take a shower in my room upstairs. And Shunya came and said, hi, love. The master wants to know if everything is ready for you to go. And I say, great. He's really into the thing. So, yeah, we're ready to go. He said, okay. So he said, that you don't worry about. Whoever's going to play the drum, he will call Nivedano.
Ah, que lindo.
And then I say, and then he said that I felt immensely happy. I said,
Yeah.
this is trouble. Because you see, he gives you 1 inch and the commune presses you back 10 paces for 1 inch that he gives to you. Because the jealousy is latent, it's there. Everybody want to have this attention. And if you get this attention, you're going to be marked. And you're going to be whipped day in, day out, every time. Yeah. I said, I don't care about it, It's between me and him. If you guys want to beat me, beat me. As long as my master doesn't hit me, it's fine with me. Yeah? So he said, I will call Nivedano. Doesn't matter who's playing the drum. And then at one point, the series ended. And then he used the opportunity to change because Rupesh was playing the drum. And then what happened? The story that you told me now, I will rectify. Rupesh was so excited because, okay, tonight he will call my name. And then when it came the moment to call the name, he misplaced the name and called Arup. And then Rupesh stood up really pissed off and pow! And hit the drum.
Porra!
Porra!
Nem agora.
And then Bhagwan said, look, you have Rupesh, have compassion in the drum. Because the drum is not the drummer's fault. Somebody just misplaced the name. Yeah? This is how the story went. Yeah? By the way, you know the name of the drum?
No.
The name of the drum is Anando, the secretary. One day, there was something happening, and Anando was being said that she was talking too much, she should go out of the room. And then the next day, she's talking too much, she should go out of the house. And the next day, she should go out of the driveway. And the next day, she should go out of the ashram. And the next day, she should go out of Pune. And the next day, yeah. So this went on for a couple of days until Ananda was way far away, somewhere on the other side of Pune. Because she's talking too much with the mind. Nothing to do with the spirit, with the mind. Yeah? Because she's a lawyer, you can imagine. Yeah? And she's in charge of so many responsibilities.
I do imagine.
And,
He's a lawyer.
And then, so, poor woman. Yeah? So then, I don't remember how it came about, but one evening he said, Nivedano, from now on, this drum, the name of your drum is Ananda. Hit hard. I said, great idea. Found a new enemy. Yeah. Now, because we already, me and Ananda, we're having some difference, yeah? Because the whole waterfall was made around her office. And was a noise, 24 hours noise. And I would go sleep 2 hours, would go down because I want to finish the waterfall. It's like a painting. You keep going, you keep inspired. Yeah. And so he told me to hit hard the drum. And then I said, okay, I got a glove that he gave me, a white glove. And the next day I went to play the drum with the white glove. And I made sure that he saw the glove. Yeah. I guess the glove is this one, behind your head, Divya. Is him wearing a glove? No. But with that, at that time, he had a glove. This is in Rajneeshpuram, this robe and this hat. And he had a white glove. Yeah? But this is how the story about the drum went. What else did you ask?
Yes. I asked the structure of the music, like silence and the crescendo of the Oshoba, and how did he create the whole structure, or he said to you guys, go and make it? How was it?
No, he created the whole thing. He said, you're gonna play. You play the drum, and then there'll be gibberish, and then I call you again, you play again, and there'll be silence. And then the first day I thought that had to go, and me too, I had to go with the gibberish. And if you watch the video, he's there, he's there, until Amelito stood up and said, hey, the drum. Because I was so engrossed with the whole thing. He said, you no need to do the gibberish.
Yes, I think I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah,
you don't do the gibberish. You just play the drum. It was great. Because I don't know why this guy liked me. You know? And I asked him once, I said, man, you give me so much juice. You protect me in the spiritual realm so much. What do you see in me that I don't see? And then he made a whole discourse about it. Yeah? What did I see? What did he see that I don't see? And then I started to find out what. And that was a very turning point in my connection with the master. Because he said, you keep going round and round and round. Go in. And the way he talked to you, he talked to you. He's not talking to anybody else. He's talking to you. So you have to pay attention to every comma, every virgula, every accent, the intonation of the voice. There is one very important thing. One day, and this is something that I want to fix one day. He said, to make it more clear, Osho, Nivedano. And I said, man, he put Osho, Nivedano. And immediately somebody went there and put a comma. And the way you see it, the way you hear, is not a place to put a comma. Because the first person to call him Osho was Nivedano. I don't know if you guys know that.
No.
Perhaps nobody knows that. Yeah? But somebody, a Japanese, I guess, Sharno, I guess was her name, or somebody that went with Sharno, or was the enlightened woman. I don't remember.
The enlightened was Tamo-san, right?
Yeah, Tamo-san was the enlightened girl. But somebody said that the way they called the masters in somewhere in Japan, I guess, was Osho. That means oceanic. And he came to this course that night and he talked about that. So the next morning I wake up and I say, okay, I'm gonna enlarge the crack in the door a little more. The beloved Osho. Blah, 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 da, 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 da. But the first thing was beloved Osho. And then Jiva Mary comes to me and said, you cannot do that.
Já imaginei. Não.
Yeah. And I said, no, this is going to go in like this. And it was a poem. And you can look for the poem on the internet called Oh Blessed One. I had many moments that I wanted to look through his eyes. So when they made the bed in the Samadhi, where the ashes are, I would go there every lunchtime and sit there and take a nap in that bed that was just cement at the time. And I would be looking outside and ask him to see through my eyes what he would put in there. And I guess in this movement, something of the divine transpired. So much that one day I was sleeping and he was there in the room. And I was there sleeping. I don't know how long he was there. And these are things that nobody knows, because if I told anybody this, it would be big trouble. For example, nobody knows, not even my wife, Diane, knew. And she doesn't know, nobody knows.
Big
And
secret.
perhaps now it's the big secret. Like, I used to make his socks. Ashish was the first one who made his socks. And because Ashish couldn't go to India because of legal problems, he had to teach me how to make his socks. And Osho was in the world tour somewhere, I don't remember where. And I went to with Guyane to Munich, to the center, and we set up a base in that, so she could make the ropes, the hats, and I could make the socks. And Arpita would make the shoes somewhere else, I don't remember where. But there was like everything spread out, and just made the clothes and sent to wherever he was. Huh? And man, every day comes this incredible cotton. The most expensive cotton that you have in the planet. Huh?
Wow.
And pure viscosity, special. And was this white thing in a machine. And it was like being touching his feet. Man. It was like was incredible meditation, because I'm Brazilian, grew up in Brazil, in a place that is very undisciplined. And Ashish was a very hard taskmaster. He said, you want to know, you want to go to India, you want to do this job, you have to learn how to make the socks. And I had to learn how to make the socks, because the socks was like this, you have 3 fingers one time, and then you have the toe in the other.
Japanese style.
Yeah. And just to make this here, took me 3 months to learn. And many socks thrown away, because you cannot undo it after it's done. So I used them until now I have a few pairs. Some of that he used. Have a few robes of him, some hats, watches. All that. But this is such a heavy thing to take around. I want to find a place to put it. Maybe I will send this to Tapoban in Nepal. Because if you leave it here, they're going to steal it. Yeah? So I have this stashed hiding somewhere, waiting for somewhere safe where I can put all this stuff from him. His sheets, his towels. Guyane was very fine in getting all these things from them. Nobody wanted all this. For example, I have the hat stand where he put his hat. He arrived at his room, he took the hat out and put in a hat stand that this guy Ashish made. When he died, nobody wants these things. Everybody just wants the big things, watches, jewelry. And Guyane came to me and said, look, nobody wanted this mattress what Bhagwan slept and died. I said, get it. I'm going to sleep in this mattress. And she went there and she rolled it up, the mattress. And we brought all the way from India to the forest. I slept in this mattress for maybe 15 years until the rats got in there and I had to burn everything. But while it lasted, it was really nice. But you have to cut your master's head one day, You have to go alone. You cannot just be hanging. And this story with the Umbanda is very important, because I went in the Umbanda because I want to incorporate Osho. I want to be a vehicle of Osho. And I seen that they have many entities and they incorporate and one day I was learning, I went to a school kind of, And we were there one Saturday afternoon, and all of a sudden it's Osho. And instead he hugged me and do anything, he just scolded me. He told me off in such a way that I never again want to see him. He said, look, stop calling me. You're disturbing me. Why are you calling me? Fuck off, man. Get lost.
You know, when you were talking, I remember a funny story because I was in Pune when Tamo-san, the Japanese lady, came, the old lady, yes? And then I lived in Japan after that for 1 year, almost 2 years. And all sannyasis, Osho sannyasis went to see Tamo-san. Then I would go many times until one day she came and said to me, don't need to come here every day. Just once is enough.
Yeah, because like in my case, I wanted, when Osho left, something wasn't finished. My preparation. I'm very selfish with that. First comes my well-being. I have to be feeling well, happy, tranquilo, fulfilled. If I'm not like that, how can I help anybody? So, in this story of the path, my idea was, man, if the guy is there, stay there every day, first on the line, last to leave. Be there, watch everything. Watch what he says, listen to his silence, watch his movements, what he wants to do. You have to be attentive for the master. You really want to learn the secret. You have to learn from A, B, C, all the way to Z. That's why I say, if you find a master, find that little crack in the door and stick something there to keep it open. And as much you can, you just push it in. And if the guy likes you, he would say, hey, come in. If he doesn't like you, he will say, get lost. It's very simple.
Simple like that.
And this day in the Umbanda, in the gathering there, the guy came and said, don't call me again. I gave it to you. Use it. Don't call me again. Do yourself. And this, at the same time, that hurts. Because I'm connected with the guy. He can tell me to go fuck off, but I don't go. I'm here with him. Yeah, I love him. I honor him. I love him. I want to spread his words everywhere. Everywhere that I can make it possible for someone to come in touch with meditation, I do it. I have no money. I don't have any things to do. This land here belongs to an entity that I made the entity. And I pay to be here, which should be different, because this is the most inviting place in the planet. This is so beautiful here. You guys are welcome to come here. Invited.
So I would like to thank you very much, Nivedano, for sharing your love and your experience with us. We are very happy with your generosity, okay?
Let me know, and we set up a date.
Thank you, Nivedano.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you very much.
E estamos aqui de novo, mas amanhã estaremos com essa live postada novamente pelo Facebook, em gravação inteira na íntegra, e também no YouTube. Né, meu querido?
É isso aí. Foi muito divertida essa conversa. Assim.
Foi muito divertida.
O pessoal todo caracou de rir aqui, porque tem muitos momentos divertidos. Ele é muito... É uma história muito peculiar, muito peculiar, diferente de tudo que a gente já viu. E esse jeito de olhar para as coisas também, né? Essa coisa, né? do artista, do músico, esse lado da conexão dele como um devoto, né? Que é bonito de ver também. Eu acho muito bonito cada vez que eu assisto. Assim, a gente sabe, né? Que ele é uma figura.
Figuraça.
Então, tá bom.
Tá bom, queridos?
Tá bom, vamos lá.
Fiquem
Gente,
ligados.
obrigado.
Estamos aqui.
Aqueles heróis que ainda estão aqui conosco.
Queridos, beijos, beijos, beijos de coração. Lindos. Obrigada pela presença. Até, tem mais. Semana que vem, mais uma linda live para nós. Momentos Osho. Beijos.